What is going on, everybody? It is Spider-X Anime, or Psychic Universe on Aminos, and I am back with another discussion. This discussion is not about an episode, but it's actually about Steven Universe Summer Adventures. Now, we are getting fantastic episodes from Steven Universe Summer Adventures, and I love it to death. But what my question is, will we get a time skip after Steven Universe Summer Adventures? We've been seeing Steven as a little kid, or you've been seeing Universe as a kid form, and he hasn't really shapeshifted or learned how to shapeshift into any elder forms. The only time we see him shapeshift into other forms of himself was in Steven's birthday, or I think it was a lot of birthdays or something. It was I forgot the episode name of it, but I believe it had to do with a lot of birthdays Steven had to go through in order to change back into his original form. Now, my question is, will Steven stay in that form? Will Steven stay in this form, or will he change into a different form? Will he learn how to shapeshift better into a different form when after a time skip is done, or after the summer adventure is over? But anyways, with that being said, let's just dive right into this discussion. I've been having a lot of thought about this topic because I've been seeing Steven as a kid for a while, and after I found out he's able to change forms and change abilities in that form, that got me thinking, can somebody teach Steven enough to where he can change forms to where he can be an adult, he can be a teenager, or he can be a baby again if he wanted to? Can Steven actually do that? Can somebody actually teach him to use his transformation, or to use his shape-shifting abilities to where he could be able to do that? And what I want Steven to do is I want Steven to actually change forms to a teenager for, like, if he leaves, or if Steven leaves to go somewhere, like, for a year or two, or 7, I don't know, but Steven leaves to go on like some type of years, and then he comes back, Steven should be a teenager. Steven should know how to shapeshift, so Steven should be able to transform himself or shapeshift himself without like having any strain on his body. He should be able to shapeshift like that, you know, like in the one episode where Steven shapeshifted his body into like an older version of himself. Well, not older version of himself, where he shapeshifted his body to be like kind of like an older kind of, but not that much, probably like 2 years older of himself, and it put a strain on his body to keep that form when he was dancing with Connie, and when he was doing all this stuff with Connie and the rest of the gems. It put a strain on his body. That's why he couldn't keep that form for that long. Now, we also saw in another Steven Universe birthday episode where we saw that Steven, he was really disappointed to hear the gems didn't have any birthdays, and he was disappointed. He was depressed because he said, maybe this birthday stuff is too much for me because I am just like the gems, so maybe this birthday stuff is too much for me, maybe I'm getting too old for him. And then he started transforming into an older version of himself till he was almost dying, and then when he found out that he's still a kid inside, then it turned him back into his original form. Now what I want to know is that if Steven were to actually think of himself as a teenager, can he stay a teenager for the rest of his life? Can he transform into a teenager for the rest of his life, or for the time period that he's thinking that he's a teenager and the time he thinks he can do teenager stuff? Do you think he'll be able to stay in that teenage form? I feel like it'll be good, and it'll be so relevant to keep Steven as a teenager now after the summer adventures. It'll be so good to have Steven as a teenager. It'll be so good to the plot, because Steven will be able to get better with his abilities. He'll be able to do more powers, more abilities, and he'll be able to do a lot more missions with the gems if he wanted to. I don't know what could happen when Steven turns a teenager, because we all know us teenagers, we are kind of rebellious. We don't really do what our parents tell us that much. So I want to know, if Steven does turn into a teenager, will he be rebellious? Will he not want to do what the gems tell him? Will he just do his own thing when he wants to? And will he go into his own battles? Will Steven fight his own battles finally? Will Steven fight his own battles? Will Steven go one-on-one with the powerful gem that the gems told him not to actually fight? Will Steven go off and fight that gem anyways, because he's a teenager now? He knows more abilities. He knows more powers that he can hold. Will Steven do that? That is my question. Will there be a time skip? Will there not be a time skip? Tell me in the comment section below. What do you guys think should happen? What do you guys think could happen if there was a time skip? What do you guys think could happen if there was a time skip? What do you guys think should happen if there wasn't? My name is Spider-X Anime, and I will see you guys in my next video. Crack the Whip, if you guys do not know, is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the episode called Crack the Whip. And what that episode is mainly about is going to be about Amethyst, Steven, and it's going to be about Connie as well.